Hello, book lovers, and welcome back to the library. Hello. If you're in the bookish space and you haven't heard of Legendborn Cycle yet, I fear you are missing out on an amazing contemporary fantasy that intertwines literal black girl magic with Arthurian legend. And today, I'm here to give you a non-spoiler review of the third installment of the Legendborn Cycle, that is, Oathbound. I read this book back in March, and I still think about it to this day. But before we get started, let me introduce myself. My name is Desiree. I am first and foremost a book lover. I love books that challenge my perspectives, spark conversations, and highlight marginalized voices. Okay, like I was saying, we're going to get into a non-spoiler review of Oathbound. Slight spoilers for the first two books, so if you haven't read the first two, please proceed with caution. Like I was saying, I read this back in March, and I've been thinking about it ever since. I read it in 3 days. But previous to this, the Legendborn Cycle really had my heart in a vice-like grip, and I really couldn't wait to see where Tracy Deonn took Bree's story next. I was excited, but also very scared. If you know, you know. Okay, I'm going to give a quick summary of what Oathbound is about. Again, if you haven't read Legendborn or Bloodmarked, this may be slight spoilers, so please proceed with caution. Okay, so in Oathbound, we follow Bree Matthews, who has distanced herself from the Legendborn Order, and she's also severed her ancestral ties. Now she's bound by an unbreakable pact with the Shadow King, a shapeshifter navigating between the human world and demon underworld, and the secret society of the Legendborn. So in Oathbound, we really dive deeper into Bree's internal struggles and the complexities of the worlds she inhabits. All while staying true to the cycle's blend of magic and legend. And a little bit of romance, okay, I will admit. First, let's get into Tracy Deonn's writing style, which, impeccable. Very, very good. It's immersive, it's heartfelt, it's real, it's relatable. My favorite part about Oathbound is how she balances action-packed scenes with really introspective, slow moments. And like I was saying, I think the way Tracy Deonn writes Bree is very relatable, and because of that, I was able to connect to Bree's journey on a deeper level, especially in Oathbound. And this type of writing isn't just relevant in Oathbound, it's really consistent throughout the Legendborn Cycle, which I love the consistency. Again, these action-packed sequences with really heartfelt and transformative moments between characters. And when it comes to pacing, as you can see, she's big, okay? She's thick, okay? But when it comes to pacing, Tracy Deonn does a really good job as well. I will say for this one, the first 50% of the book felt like nothing was happening, but things were still happening. Like the story was still progressing through conversations, revelations. It wasn't as action-packed as like the last 50%, but it was still, the story still progressed in a way that didn't feel like it was bogged down. Oh, and also the tension building, 10 out of 10. Now I want to get into the characters and their development. Tracy Deonn, I'm sending you my therapy bill because you put my girl Bree through so much, not just in this one, but in the other ones too. But in this one, I see a lot of character growth within Bree. Between her struggles with identity, power, and responsibility, I think are portrayed honestly. And I think in Oathbound, her relationship with herself and her purpose are really tested in this one. Okay, so fun fact, in Legendborn and Bloodmarked, we are only in Bree's POV, but for Oathbound, pleasantly surprised to have multiple POVs. I remember going to a book signing event for Oathbound, and first of all, Tracy Deonn, gorgeous, such a smart woman. I could listen to her talk all day about anything. But when she was talking about Oathbound and the writing process, she talked about how she swore she was never going to do multiple POVs because this story is Bree's. The story is about Bree. Bree is at the center of it all. But she talked about how in the process of writing Oathbound, the multiple POVs just kind of wrote themselves and made sense for the direction of the story that the story is going in Oathbound or went in Oathbound. And as a reader, I think it added to the storytelling in the best way possible. And these POVs don't take away from Bree and her story, which is what Tracy Deonn was talking about, how, that's how she writes these books. And the POVs don't take away from Bree and her story. Like, the focus is still Bree. But what it does of adding these new POVs is adding another layer to Bree's world through the eyes of people that are closer to her or closest to her. Okay, let's talk about some themes and messages. Some themes that I picked out when reading this book include self-discovery, consent, bodily autonomy, the weight of legacy, and the complexities of making decisions that impact not just ourselves, well, in this case, Bree, but the broader community and the people you surround yourself with. There's also this continued conversation of grief. This isn't a spoiler, but Bree loses her mother in the first book, and we're following her journey shortly after that as she attends an early college program type thing. In addition to grief, it also talks about the Black experience in predominantly white spaces, and also how white supremacy, well, how the Legendborn Council is used as an allegory for white supremacy that's continued and touched upon more within Oathbound. Or I should say, expounded upon. I don't know if I use that word correctly. One thing that I picked up on and really enjoyed about Oathbound is this idea of to be a hero, you have to be alone. We see that a lot in YA books, The Hunger Games, Percy Jackson, these type of the chosen one trope where yes, they have their sidekicks and their friends to help them, but the responsibility of saving the world still falls on their shoulders at the end of the day. And in Oathbound, Tracy Deonn introduces this idea that you don't need to be alone to be a hero. You can rely on and have community and still be a hero, not just to yourself, but to the people around you. And how Tracy Deonn hammers in this point is showing the direction of Bree's journey, how that could go, how her life could be without the help of her community if she is truly alone and her community is gone. Like I said, Tracy, I'm sending you my therapy bill because to this day, I am still traumatized by what you've put Bree through in the last 3 books. So my final thoughts on Oathbound. Tracy Deonn, you have done it again. The world building, the character development, witty banter between characters. Not just the witty banter, but also the relatability of the characters and the relationships that they have and they form. And the continued deeper societal conversations surrounding the Black experience, grief, white supremacy, continue to shine through, and she does a great job of showcasing and continuing those themes within Oathbound. So one thing that I realized is after reading Oathbound is how much I resonated with Bree's character in this one, more so than the other two. And at first I couldn't figure out why that was. And I realized it was because I picked up on this theme of the pros and cons of hyper-independence or self-isolation. While yes, self-isolation can have moments of introspection, there's also this understanding that not every battle needs to be fought alone. And I felt that on a personal level. As a hyper-independent girly myself, I felt that on a personal level. And it really hammered in this idea of like, you are not too much. The feelings that you have are not too much. That's another thing I forgot to mention is that Tracy Deonn intentionally writes Bree to be not rageful, but to feel her feelings the way that they are meant to be felt. Because as Black women, we have this strong Black woman trope, right? Wow, you're so strong. You muscled through it. It's like, sometimes I don't want to muscle through it. Sometimes I want to stand on the top of the building and scream the grief that I'm feeling and the rage that I'm feeling and understand that that's valid. And I think that's another reason why I resonated so well with Bree in Oathbound, because we, not just in the other 2 books, but this one in particular, we see, well, yes, in the other 2 as well, but in this one, we just see that she's really feeling her feelings. Like, it's okay to not be okay. But back to my point about community and not being alone, it really resonated with me on a personal level because, like I said, I do tend to self-isolate, which being in solitude, like being by yourself, is not inherently bad. But when it becomes a trauma response and when it becomes a way to avoid anything and everything, it can be detrimental. It's really important to have that community, to lean on other people and trust other people. Okay, back to Bree. Another thing I love about Bree is how strong-willed she is. She's hot-headed. She's smart. She's also very caring. She's a powerhouse. But again, she's also feeling. She's not afraid to tell you how she's feeling. She's not afraid to show her emotions, even when it's hard, even when it takes a little coaxing. But at the end of the day, Bree Matthews is one girl. She can't do it all by herself. She needed to lose a part of her soul that made her who she is, to be lost in order to find herself and also see who's in her corner. And I love that. I love that about this story. And there was one scene in particular, which I'm not going to share because it is a spoiler, but I think that one scene in the book really encapsulated the importance of community, the importance of family, and just overall having a community that supports you. To the point of Bree being written to be feeling, I remember Tracy Deonn saying at the author event that she wrote Bree allowing her decisions to be driven by her emotions, really emphasizing that the plot revolves around her and her actions. And we really do see that at Oathbound. Because at the end of the day, she's a teenager with trauma and grief, okay? She's going through a lot. She's trying her best. On the topic of white supremacy, I think that Tracy's commentary on white supremacy is intertwined throughout the book really well. I think she did, in this book in particular, showcased how white people can and should use their privilege as a weapon against white supremacy. So yeah, I would recommend this book to anyone who is into fantasy, Arthurian legends, emotionally raw and relatable characters, fast-paced but also really slow and introspective moments. Like, this book is for you. Please start with the Legendborn cycle, and I promise you will not be disappointed. Let me know in the comments if you've read Oathbound or the other books in the series. And if you've read Oathbound or the other books in the series, what are your thoughts on Bree's journey so far? Don't forget to like this video, grab yourself a library card by hitting that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!